jumps and dodges to left. The opponent moved by jumping so he couldn't hear any footsteps even before the landing sound is heard. The aim follows to the left. In addition to this, practice and screams before the preliminaries. A team made up of Korean streamers feel frustrated by this ridiculous play. I want to mention what I think about cheaters. I already mentioned a couple of times in my videos, but I think they're similar criminals as scammers. It might be too harsh again, but you gotta think of the part that they are stealing your time and your money that you spent on to play the game. You spent a lot of money to play the game, buying the PC, buying the games and everything, and you worked your ass off to make this time to play the game, and they're stealing your time and the money. You guys got to think of that part. So I think it's a crime in gamer world. I mean, they're not going to end up behind the bars, obviously. I don't know, maybe in the future sometime, but anyways, that's what I wanted to mention.
Maybe the creators.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. If you guys enjoyed watching the video,
damn, awesome. We watched that whole
what
thing.
Do you guys think about
Again, that's very bad, Scav. We just want.
I earned a sub from Submit. Thank you, sir. So he watched like 10 videos and then subbed. It's really difficult to earn subs, guys. It's really difficult.
Watched a very long video that he.
Thank you for the subs, guys.
Made, so take a gander. Very bad, Scav. That's fun. I had a good time. Let's play.
Thank you for watching and giving a shout out, sir. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool experience, especially I worked hard. I mean, I'm not like that good of a YouTuber, but still, like it's fun to watch like some big streamers, especially like an ancestor level of a streamer, actually watching my video and then like talking about it. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. And then yeah, guys, if you guys like these kind of contents, please leave a like. And also, if you guys want me to do more reaction and more reaction, leave a like. I think it's too much. I think that's good enough. Thank you, Submit again. And if you want to check out the videos as quick as possible, put the notification button on. If you want to check me out on live stream, check out YouTube and Kickstream, because sadly Twitch Korea is gonna soon shut down in 27th. And also, if you want to check out other videos, check out the video list below. The original video that Submit reacted to, I'll put it on the description too. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Goodbye. Should be working now. Kinda sucks, it's super slow. Okay, welcome back, guys, on YouTube. Welcome back. Sorry for restarting the game. You know what? Let's just sell the guns and everything. Like, it's a filthy PMC gun, anyways. No, на chola chola. Oof.
Right. This is the spot. There's Slacker flying. Oh, dive the basketball hoop? Yeah. We're gonna test the range. Whoa. Oh, no, that was whack. Sorry. You're good. Alright, I'm gonna just go straight for the dive. Actually. Is that a dog? Look, look. Say hi, guys. Hi. That was cool. Yo. They're waving back. Oh, yeah, yeah. They're waving back. You waved at them? Yeah, they weren't looking at us. They waved back at us. I'm gonna go for another dive. You saw the first dive? That was Dave. He was like do a juicy flick into a cricket dive. Dave, Naruto F. Yeah, look. So dive and then juicy flick into it. Yeah, that's what I tried doing in my last video. Oh. I tried tripping down. Alright, so what were you power looping? I'm about to. Right there. Right into there, over. Right over. Butter, oh, bro. Shit. Nope, that was not butter. It. Oh, can I? Oh, yeah. We good. I'm good. Green ass hair, bro. Ooh. Yo, my battery's like falling out. Dive. Oh, I think my oh, grab me. Oh. Let me see how that was. Damn. So I'm gonna perch on the I would say on the seat or any floor that you could see us. So we just start waving. But I would have to be like really close to that side. Okay. Yeah, like third floor and then look at us. All right. So I'm gonna go up to the building and perch. So you guys can see that. My goggles on? Wow, goggles aren't even on. Drones on. Recording. All right, let's go. That's these super long ass antennas. Word. All right, so time to perch on the chair. Oh, something's on my head. Fucking ant. I'm good. I got it off. Okay. Let me see. Oh, that one. Oh God. Oh no. Oh, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I'm good. Oh shit, look at the view. Yeah. Oh shit, is my battery hanging? I don't know if where my battery is at, so I'm gonna just I mean, like, is it hanging? It's not hanging. Okay, good. All right. Well, that was sketch. Is my antenna like messed up from that? Oh, I'm gonna just do a regular dive. Nope, too far. Oh, okay. Oh, what the hell was that? All right. Imagine I went in that window. What's up, dude? Oh no. Yo, no way. What the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. Oh shit. I think my battery fell. Oh my God. I see it right in the middle. Thank you. Oh, he's gonna get it for me. Oh my God. Holy shit, my drone fell over there. Dude, thank this guy so much. Yo. Oh my God, that's crazy. Got the drone back, but there's no battery. Oh man, thank you to that guy though, but frig. Rip, rip. Oh no. Well, that was crazy. I just lost my battery. Shout out to that guy for picking up the drone for me though, and for Slacker for getting the drone for me. So that was a fun spot. We are now leaving.
Hard. Your schedule. Huh? Wait, unload through the door, loser. Can't wait till I you. You think you're Rambo?
Bro, what is he doing? Alright, let's check out some guy. Death Sense. Soft aim, he has survived 18 times in a row now. That's not a big deal, 18 times in a row. Wait, labs 18 times in a row? How do you know that though he survived 18 times in a row in labs? Is there a way to see that? But anyways, this is like a streamer guy. But boom. This clip is no longer available. Why? Another clip. What did he name it? Both Raiders headshot, not even aiming at them. Don't name clips like this. People will think, okay, I'm getting exposed, and then they will delete the clips. It's very likely he deleted a clip. Check this one. Of course, this one's deleted too. Hits 2 bullets and somehow knows him with a headshot. So yeah, very big red flag. That him deleting clips only, like those kind of things like that. So we're gonna have to check who the hell this guy is. Oh, he's streaming right now. What the hell, bro? That's not good. Guys, don't go into stream. You know what? Don't go into stream. I'm just gonna watch his like other boss. Let me check his boss first. No, he doesn't have any pet stream boss. And but he does have some clips. But he only deleted the clips that's more sus. Deleting only this one and this clip? That's super sus, bro. I don't know about that. The more evidence, the better, right? So that sense guy suggested these streamers, Landmark, which the clips were deleted. Rob has reported him at the start. And these clips were the clips he sent, where I kind of talk about. So I asked him, when was it? When was the stream? And then he said yesterday around 3 to 4 p.m. EST. It took a little bit of time for me to find it because I have different timeline with that guy. Anyways, it was from March. Thanks to the Twitch bot downloader. The thumbnail shows the AK-12 silenced with a holoscope and opening the door in the basement of labs. You can see the thing, and then this is exact clip, I think. Let's watch. Okay, that's how he drops them. 2 raiders. Pretty far. Didn't really aim properly. Let's watch the kill feed, I guess. Yeah, it seems like, wow, okay. I mean, it can be done, but it looks like he did all headshots. Let me see it again. It's 8 headshots. Maybe this one doesn't show, but you can see it from the next screen. Actually, next screen of this one. Right here. Oh, 7 headshots, and the last guy wasn't a headshot. Okay. Anyways, so those rogues we just saw, no, the raider kills we just saw were headshots from that far away, which he clearly deleted. There's a possibility of the clipper deleting it, but I don't think he did, because it is a pretty sus clip. And the next one is this one. He's 2 bullets and somehow kills him with the headshot. This he doesn't really another to go along with that clip. I don't know where that one is exactly. I can't really see it. I can only see the getting into the raid thumbnail. That's all I can see. Yeah, that's all I can see. 7KNX4F. Okay, so this is the one that the guy reports. The raid cone will match. Let's watch. information. The raid code changes right after the raid starts, as you guys just saw. So the raid code until the countdown ends is raid code from the last raid.
Let's get this shit. Let's get this shit. Holy.
So I think that's the kill. Let's check it out with enhance, I guess. Enhance. Practical is there. He shot. He shot nowhere. But the blood spatter is gonna happen, right? Yeah, blood spatter happened there. He shot again. Blood spatter, exact same knife on his thorax. Shoots again. Okay, that one was like landing on the right side. But again, for some reason, the thorax blood spatter. Not hitting anything, not hitting anything, not hitting anything, not hitting anything. But the dude dies. And I bet it's gonna be a headshot kill. Headshot. Oh, it's one of those raids. He had all the headshots. So the first guy, the guy we just saw, got a headshot. Yeah. Should we check his dog tag just in case? Let's check his dog tag route. Just definitely gonna check the dog tag rate. Yep, midget L. Yep, guy. Got it. Headshot. All right, pretty good clip. But there's a bunch more.
Dude.
Yeah, that one's a good one. Yeah, he clearly isn't aiming at it yet, but the tracers just go to the freaking face, bang bang, and then the dude dies. Obviously, I'm gonna check his boss. He's streaming every day almost, but he doesn't have boss. Okay, it's Dead Sense. You can see it, right? It's live streaming right now, but I'm not checking his live stream because people do weird shit whenever I watch the guy live streaming. When he hit the guy on the barrels. Let's see. Okay. That guy? I mean, like for my hunch, the fight is a bit weird, but whatever. Let's watch the important part. It's 8 minutes and 9 seconds. It's not like completely weird. Like how does he know that? Bad guy now. Like this guy is like completely out of nowhere. You can't hear this one. I can hear the left guy, I guess, kinda, but this guy is like out of nowhere. He's pretty sus, I would say. See the rest of the fight. Now I hear like the stair footsteps. I know he's live streaming, but I'm not going to his live stream because, you know, it causes drama. I mean, that was like a perfect timing to back out. I guess he baited him. Wait, what was that? Or wait, let me see. I know, guys. I'm blind. Let's see. Let's see the bullets. It was a bit weird, right? I felt the bit weirdness, but I can't point out exactly what that was. Okay. Bro. That one. That one's pretty sure it's bullet bending, right? Desync? That's not desync. That's not desync, bro. But you can literally see the bullet. So this is like this kind of thing where the bullet bends every like 5 rounds or 10 rounds. So he doesn't hear the guy coming from right side, even though he knows everybody else until now. That's already pretty sus. But now, look at this one. This one is the weirdest one. He shoots, he fires. Okay, maybe he can do that. But he runs up. And then... Bruh!
What in the... What the shit is going on?
Do they not realize the walls they are walking on are built by the same criminals that they are chasing?
It's a trap!
What in the... What the shit is going on?
Do they not realize the walls they are walking on are built by the same criminals that they are chasing?
It's a trap!
What in the... What the shit is going on?
Do they not realize the walls they are walking on are built by the same criminals that they are chasing?
It's a trap!
What in the...
Vertical band to the tan, boom tang tang ting tang to the loogie, for it the but the bang bang on a doogie, whipple a bit of a tang tang on a doogie. Vertical band to the tan, boom tang tang ting tang to the loogie, for it the but the bang bang on a doogie, whipple a bit of a tang tang on a doogie. Vertical band to the tan, boom tang tang ting tang to the loogie, for it the but the bang bang on a doogie, whipple a bit of...
Gotta take the good with the bad.
The British Special Air Service, or SAS, are an icon of awe and wonder in popular culture, widely regarded as the best special forces outfit on Earth. Tales of their antics enthrall all, both for the breadth of their bravery and the sheer absurdity of the odds that they overcome time and time again. Now today we're going to dive headfirst into 4 such crazy occasions, from high-stakes shootouts in central London to battles against militias deep in the African jungle to fights against nature herself. And through it, we're going to see for ourselves just how the SAS earned its most idolized place in the public consciousness. So let's get started. If we are to discuss crazy SAS operations, there can be no better place to start than the one that revealed them to the world and etched the stereotypical image of the SAS trooper as an MP5-wielding, gas mask-wearing, black-clad unit of a man into the public consciousness, and that's Operation Nimrod, better known as the Iranian embassy siege. The events that led to the siege began on April the 30th, when 6 armed men stormed the Iranian embassy in London, taking 26 people hostage. They were members of the Democratic Revolutionary Front for the Liberation of Arabistan, a militant group that fought for the independence of Khuzestan, a province in Iran. The situation was as tense as it was volatile, with the hostages including embassy staff, visitors, and a police officer. At first, the British government was restrained in its response. They had a firm policy of not risking escalation in such events, so long as none of them started shooting, the standoff would continue. The hostage takers, unaware that the government's merciful graces were the only thing keeping them alive, then made a fatal miscalculation on the 6th day of the standoff. They killed Abbas Lavasani, the embassy's chief press officer, and threw his body through the window as a warning to the British government. The SAS were unmuzzled and told to go and get stuck in. The operation began with a carefully orchestrated symphony of chaos. As the sun began to wane, the SAS troopers, shrouded in their signature black gear, emerged like phantoms from the rooftop. The embassy, a building that had stood as a diplomatic haven, was about to become a battleground. With precision that comes only from brutal and relentless training and an unwavering resolve, the SAS initiated their assault. One team abseiled down the building's facade using bombs and a sledgehammer. Simultaneously, another team blew up skylights on the roof and dropped in, ensuring the hostage takers suddenly found themselves surrounded by explosions on all angles and totally overwhelmed by chaos. Through the basement, 2 more teams entered at that same moment, to act as a little surprise for any hostage takers who thought the lack of explosions in that direction signaled a path to freedom. The penetrating teams seized the initiative and advanced without hesitation, floor by floor, room by room, hunting for the hostage takers. And when they found them, they poured tear gas and smoke grenades into the room before they even had time to process that they were under fire. This approach was a clever one. Having already killed Lavasani, the troopers were working under the assumption that the second the hostage takers knew they were under fire, they would turn their guns on their hostages, and this overwhelming strategy was intended to render them incapable of doing so. In one particularly dramatic incident, a hostage taker found himself with an overwhelming urge to meet back up with his fallen mate sooner rather than later, and so he appeared carrying a hand grenade, loudly announcing his plans to pull the pin and take everyone in the room to the grave with him. He'd probably seen too many movies, however, because his monologue was not met with a monologue in response by the troopers. Instead, one of them simply pivoted on the spot, pushed him down a staircase to get him away from the hostages, before 3 further troopers emptied their magazines into him. Ultimately, 5 of the 6 hostage takers were killed in the embassy, with the final one opting to hide among the hostages and try to sneak his way to freedom. Unfortunately for him, his plan came undone, courtesy of the many wrinkles on the brains of the SAS planners, who had everybody pulled from the embassy, handcuffed and held in the back garden until all of the hostage takers, alive or dead, could be accounted for. Naturally, the genuine hostages were quite keen to foil his little scheme, and so he was immediately fingered and thrown in the back of a police van. All in all, the operation was a huge success. 23 of the 26 hostages were recovered alive and well, having suffered injuries no greater than ringing ears, courtesy of the flashbangs, and itchy eyes, courtesy of the tear gas. One man, Ahmad Dadgar, was an embassy staffer who was shot 6 times by hostage takers but incredibly survived his injuries. And tragically, one man, an embassy staffer named Ali Akbar Samadezdar, was killed. Given the odds, however, everyone was thrilled with this result. It's undoubtedly tragic, but it's also a very good outcome. So let's stay with the theme of hostage rescues for this section and have a look at Operation Barras, a hostage rescue mission the SAS executed in Sierra Leone in the year 2000. The hostages in question were 5 British soldiers of the Royal Irish Regiment and their Sierra Leonean liaison officer who had been ambushed on the 25th of August and taken hostage by the West Side Boys, a local militia group most well known for their affinity for flip-flops, women's wigs, child soldiers, wanton torture, and being perpetually off their nut on all manner of substances. The British, led by Lieutenant Colonel Simon Fordham, had attempted negotiations, but on account of all the substances and the West Side Boys' tangible grip on reality that stemmed therefrom, these didn't go anywhere. So, with no peaceful option anywhere on the horizon, the British government authorized an SAS assault. It began with the deployment of reconnaissance teams who snuck up to the West Side Boys' stronghold and began taking note of what they saw, creating a perfect map of the area that noted every defensive position, every hut, every ditch, every tree line, truly everything, so that the troopers knew exactly what they'd be walking into and as such could create the perfect plan to get in, get it done, and get out with minimum casualties. With that done, it was go time. And in the early hours of the 10th of September, a squadron made up of RAF Lynx and Chinook helicopters, all bristling with guns and stuffed to capacity with troopers, took off from the British base in the town of Hastings and began making the 15-minute flight to the West Side Boys' stronghold. But rather than storming straight in, they held downstream for a time in order to give the reconnaissance teams time to move into effective ambush positions before the whir of their blades and the drone of their turbines announced their presence. And then, when those teams radioed in to say that they were set up and staring at the West Side Boys down their scopes, the pilots collectively jammed their flight sticks into the canopies and moved in. They flew fast, and they flew low. Their fuselages barely clearing the canopy of trees below. This was for 2 reasons. Firstly, it helped keep them obscured on their approach, but secondly, and more importantly, it meant that when they penetrated the perimeter of the stronghold, the mighty downdraft their blades generated was directed straight down onto the roofs of the shacks below, blowing them clean off, including the one where the captives were being held. Then, with the route to the hostages secured, the Chinooks began circling the stronghold and emptied their M134 miniguns and L7 GPMGs into anything that moved, and the Lynxes fanned out and used their missile pods to quickly reduce the many heavy weapons that lay around the area to scrap. The West Side Boys, who survived the initial onslaught, found it all rather egregious, so a few of them quickly moved to deny the attackers their prize by killing the hostages, but the second they started towards the hut holding them, AKs in hand, they fell to the ground dead, dropped by the reconnaissance team, who had been keeping their scopes trained on them in case of this very eventuality. Then, with their machine guns now empty, the Chinooks hit the ground and deployed their troops. A surprising number of West Side Boys were still alive and kicking, and so a fierce firefight erupted. Undeterred, with steely resolves, the troopers steadily pushed them back, their top-of-the-line equipment and world-beating training, making the unorganized and intoxicated militants resisting them of little challenge, and soon enough the fight was won. And what a victory it was, as not only were all 6 hostages rescued, battered and bruised, but very much still alive, but also all of the surviving West Side Boys, including their leader Fidei Kali, were captured and taken into custody, destroying the once feared militant group in an instant. Tragically, however, the victory, although overwhelming, was somewhat pyrrhic, as Trooper Bradley Tinian was struck by a stray round during the firefight and did not survive his injuries, making him the only British death of the operation. So let's move away from hostage rescues now and have a look at something a bit more conventional, specifically Operation Parakeet, a mission aimed at recapturing South Georgia during the 1982 Falklands War. Now, you likely haven't heard of South Georgia before, so let's give it some context before we jump in. South Georgia is an isolated lump of rock in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean, and one that is sufficiently barren that it makes the Falkland Islands look positively bustling and cosmopolitan by comparison. With a population of no more than 20 on a good day, it has more penguins than it does people, and it sits just shy of 2,000 miles from the nearest major landmass. It was taken by the Argentinians on the 19th of March 1982, and despite being strategically useless and all but abandoned, then British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher wasn't having any of it. She decided a good shoeing was in order, and thus she dispatched the SAS and others to see said shoeing administered. The SAS's first task was one of pure reconnaissance. They were to get onto the island, have a look about, and make extensive notes on what they saw to aid a later assault. But even by their extreme standards, the task was a most arduous one. At that time of year on South Georgia, the temperature dipped between a high of -3 and a low of -9. And thanks to its remote position in the world, the strong winds of the Atlantic blew up undeterred at speeds of up to 100 miles an hour consistently in its worst spots, which, with the wind chill, brought the effective temperature down to as low as -35 Celsius. Undeterred by something as trivial as lethally cold temperatures, however, the SAS made their preparations to land on the island, and soon enough, Mountain Troop D Squadron was inserted onto Fortuna Glacier by helicopter. They had chosen this spot specifically because of its remote nature, reasoning that it was sufficiently far from enemy positions that they would evade detection during insertion, but they quickly encountered a bit of a big problem. Even by the known standards of the island, the weather was simply horrendous. The island was in the midst of a huge storm, and with it came even colder, even windier, and even more lethal conditions than normal. They persevered, however, even after this absurd wind took their tents far off into the distance, never to be seen again, successfully navigating deep crevasses they could barely see for the thickness of the rain, and surfaces made lethally slippery by moisture. But, as hard as they were only human, and quickly realized Mother Nature had no intention of letting them make it to their objective alive, and so, after 15 hours of trying to navigate and survive, they called for an evac. But then came another problem. 3 Wessex helicopters had been dispatched to pick them up, 2 of which crashed in the whiteout conditions that had taken hold of the island. But the troopers on the ground, frostbitten and battered though they were, managed to pull the crews out of both helicopters and get themselves and everyone else on board the final severely overloaded helicopter, and they retreated back to safety without casualty. Despite this setback, the SAS eventually managed to successfully get its troopers on the island and completed their reconnaissance mission despite nature's best efforts. And then, when the time came to fight for the island, it actually proved quite the underwhelming affair in comparison. The SAS, along with some colleagues from the SBS, the SAS's naval equivalent, and some Royal Marines, formed an ad hoc unit of 79 men and made for the main Argentinian garrison, which surrendered after 15 minutes without firing a shot after 2 Royal Naval frigates, Antrim and Plymouth, fired a little demonstration barrage right on their doorstep to, well, encourage them to give it up as a bad job. This was followed by the Argentinian secondary garrison on the other side of the island the next day, bringing the islands back under British control. While certainly a bit less actiony than Operation Nimrod and Barras, Operation Paraquet was certainly no less crazy. For our last crazy SAS operation, let's have a look at the raid on Sidi Hanish Airfield. Occurring all the way back on the 26th through the 27th of July 1942, when the SAS was but a nascent thing freshly born into the world, it represents the very apex of what the SAS was and is all about. Double-quicking it into something tricky, making a mess, blowing stuff up, and getting out again with the speed of muck off a shovel. The operation was simple in its aim. It was to be a bold strike right at the heart of the Axis's aerial capabilities. The SAS, transported by the long-range desert group, would embark on a multi-hundred-mile-long arduous trek through the desert, right through the very terrain that the Axis forces believed no soldier would ever be foolish enough to try and traverse, catch them with their pants down as a result at the titular airfield, which sat at the northwesternmost corner of Egypt, destroy the aircraft that they could get their hands on as the gunmen ran around, flustered, unable to muster a response, and then, by the time they got their act together and the shooting started to get serious, get out of there and escape back over the desert. For this, they would be led by none other than Major David Sterling, the legendary founder of the SAS, who by that point had already earned himself something of a reputation amongst Axis forces, who dubbed him the Phantom Major. Initially, all went well. They'd crossed the desert without incident, or as little incident as one can reasonably expect in such terrain, and having the shimmering silhouette of the airfield in the distance, Sterling ordered his men to scatter and hide out of view of approaching aircraft, with the attack slated to commence once darkness fell over the desert. And sure enough, that's exactly what Sterling did. And so, when the edge of the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Sterling signaled to all of his men to emerge from cover and gather around him, and they all went over the plan one last time. That plan was a simple one. The 18 jeeps he had at his disposal, each of which was brimming with multiple Vickers K machine guns and manned by the handiest of lads, would attack en masse in a great V formation, with orders to break off and cause chaos independently once they penetrated the airfield's perimeter. Almost immediately, however, Sterling found himself sporting a pair of brown underpants, because as soon as his convoy was underway, the airfield lit up like a Christmas tree. Fearing that they'd been rumbled, Sterling ordered the convoy halted so that he could assess the situation, at which point he was able to deduce that, luckily for him, it was just a solitary Luftwaffe bomber coming in to land. Having figured this out, he ordered his lads to keep their heads down and they would continue the attack once the airfield descended back into darkness. That time came soon enough, and so Sterling shot a single green flare into the sky to signal to his boys that they were back on, and soon, after one last sprint through the sand, all hell broke loose. They broke through the perimeter fence with ease, at which point the jeeps broke off and started unloading at everything important they could find. The jeeps, each touting at least 4 machine guns and having an ample amount of explosives that could be chucked overboard, were reducing planes to scrap in mere seconds. Even the drivers got some lucky shots off because Sterling, in his infinite wisdom, had noticed that it only took one hand to steer a jeep, so he'd fitted all of his with handy little contraptions that let his drivers get off some shots with their spare hand. Eventually, the troopers spent all their ammunition, and it was time to scarper, and so, with Sterling launching another flare into the air to mark the raid's end, the jeeps all turned and made for the hole in the fence that they'd made only minutes earlier. They made for a very smooth and brisk exit, one that was delayed only by the actions of one Captain Paddy Main, for you see, he had a spare bomb left, and the thought of wasting perfectly good explosives troubled him dearly, so he quickly pulled his jeep over to throw it into the cockpit of a surviving HE-111 for good measure, and then made for the exit with the rest of his lads as it blew up behind him. And he probably didn't look at it, because he's extremely cool. All in all, the raid was a roaring success. Sterling and his boys had destroyed 37 enemy aircraft in a matter of minutes, although tragically, 2 of these brave souls, acting Second Lieutenant Andre Zimheld and Lance Bombardier John Robson, didn't make it home and were lost to enemy fire. History is full of shock facts and stories, whether it's things that seem too impossible to be true, or those that challenge our commonly held beliefs. There is no shortage of fascinating stories from throughout history, and today we're going to take a brief look at 50 such facts to surprise you. And if you like this experimental format of video, let us know, we'll make more! Arctic camels. When you think of camels, the first thing that likely comes to mind is the deserts of Africa and the Middle East. But while in modern times camels are associated with hot and arid climates, this was not always the case. For millions of years, wild camels roamed across North and Central America. Rather than evolving to survive in exceptionally hot climates, the species camelops were a variety of Arctic camels. The camelops would have looked similar to your average dromedary, though it's unclear whether or not they had humps. A camel's hump contains no bone, instead consisting of fat. So the fossil record gives no indication whether these humps existed on the camelops. The other key difference between a camelops and modern camels is that they were larger, with the Arctic camels being 1 to 2 feet taller than the desert camels. These were one of the many species that fell to extinction following the end of the last ice age, with the camelops believed to have died off around 11,000 years ago. Though there have been a few specimens found that appeared to die as the result of human intervention, there's not yet enough evidence to state that humans hunted the animals to extinction. The original computer bug. There's an often told story about the origins of the term bug as it pertains to software. According to the tale, computer scientist and Navy Rear Admiral Grace Hopper was working at the computational laboratory at Harvard University. The team was developing the Harvard Mark II, also known as the Icon Relay Calculator. Grace frequently went on to tell the story that the computer had been malfunctioning, and the source of the malfunction was traced to a moth that had gotten trapped in one of the computer's relays. The moth was removed from the machine and taped into a notebook with the note, "First actual case of bug being found." It sounds like an apocryphal tale, but this story is completely true. However, it wasn't actually the origin of the term. The term bug had been common in engineering since the 1870s, so the engineers were amused when they found that their problem was being caused by a literal bug. That's why the notebook referred to it as the first actual case of a bug being found, as all previous bugs in machines had been metaphoric. But if you've heard a very similar story to this involving a mouse rather than a moth, yes, that is actually where Dead Mouse got its name. Ancient toothpaste. While it strikes us as a more modern invention, toothpaste has actually existed for thousands of years. The earliest record of a recipe for toothpaste dates back to the year 4 AD, and it included pepper, mint, iris flowers, and crushed rock salt. But while that's the oldest definitive record, it's believed that dental hygiene dates back at least another 5,000 years. Though no evidence of a specific recipe can be found, it's believed that ancient Egyptians used a combination of burnt eggshells, powdered ox hooves, ashes, and pumice as a form of toothpaste, which sounds horrible. Research into these various recipes showed that they would somehow be effective at preventing disease, freshening breath, and whitening teeth. Similar style recipes have been found out of Asia as well, showing that oral hygiene has been important to all of humanity for longer than you probably realized. Of course, while they may have served their intended purpose, we can't actually recommend any of the ancient recipes, as the ingredients involved were often extremely abrasive, guaranteed to make even healthy gums bleed and potentially damage and remove your teeth's enamel. But don't worry, just go to the store and buy some Colgate. Ancient computers. If you've consumed any amount of history or even pseudo-history content, then you've likely heard of the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient mechanical computer from the 2nd century AD that is often used as evidence that extraterrestrials visited Earth thousands of years ago. However, the Antikythera mechanism isn't alone, and there are actually a multitude of ancient mechanical computers from that same time period. The most abundant of these was the astrolabe, a mechanical star chart that served a variety of uses. At the most basic, astrolabes could be used to identify celestial bodies and predict their future locations. However, these were also useful navigation tools, as they would allow a user to determine their latitude based on where in the sky these bodies appeared. Or, if you already knew what line of latitude were on, they could be used to determine the exact time. There were even attachments to these devices that could determine things like the slope of an angle or the elevation of a mountaintop. Although they were extremely useful, they were limited in precision by their size and mechanical nature, as well as their assumption of a geocentric solar system. They were also good for navigation on land or in calm waters, as choppy water would make finding one's position relative to the sky much more difficult. The Great Emu War. In 1932, Australian farmers were facing an invasion that threatened not just their crops, but the lives of all Australians who depended on them to provide food for their nation. That invasion came in the form of wild emus. The government had enacted a bounty program to encourage locals to take care of the emu problem themselves, but it was not enough. The farmers wanted help from the Australian military, and the military decided to oblige. Armed with 10,000 rounds and 2 Lewis guns, a form of light machine gun used in World War I, the military prepared to mow down the emus by the thousands. But the emus had other ideas. According to one ornithologist, quote, "The machine gunner's dreams of point-blank fire into serried masses of emus was soon dissipated. The emu command had evidently ordered guerrilla tactics, and its unwieldy army soon split up into innumerable small units that made use of the military equipment uneconomic. A crestfallen field force therefore withdrew from the combat area after about a month." The quote ends. After a month of engagements between the military and the birds, only between 1,000 and 3,000 emus had been slain. It was enough to save what remained of that year's wheat harvest, and there were no human casualties from the war, but farmers kept requesting military intervention in future years as the emu problem had not been solved. But the military declined to ever face off against the emus again. Cleopatra and the moon landing. There are a few names that are synonymous with ancient Egypt. For many, the first and possibly only names that come to mind are Tutankhamun, Cleopatra, Ramesses II, and Nefertiti. Granted, Ramesses II implies the existence of a Ramesses I, but you rarely actually hear anything about that dude. But because there are so few things from ancient Egyptian history that people are aware of, it can be easy to forget just how long ancient Egypt existed for. Ancient Rome and ancient...
Oi, oi, oi. Is my Discord working? Yeah. Oh. Oi, 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 oi. Oh, I see you talking, but I can't hear you. One second. Wait. Oi.
in Greece are considered to have lasted for about 1,000 years each. So it is often overlooked that ancient Egypt lasted about 3 times as long. And that only takes into account the period after Egypt in the 17th and 18th centuries. In reality, pirate ships were completely democratic, and the captain wasn't even the ultimate authority. Captain was an executive position aboard the ship, but the quartermaster was also an executive position of nearly identical power. The only difference between a captain and a quartermaster was that the captain chose how to respond in times of attack when there was no time for voting or discussion. Having dual elected executives served as a reminder to both that they were only in charge because they had been voted into that position, and that they could just as easily be removed. Captains and quartermasters also did not receive special quarters, extra provisions, or extra shares of any treasure.
Oh, yeah!
Of all money taken in going to a fund to support any of their fellow pirates who had become disabled through their piracy, such as those that had lost limbs or their eyesight. The system was so appealing compared to traditional Navy life that many sailors who were taken captive willingly joined the pirates. Dracula the hero. You already know that Vlad III of Wallachia, also known as Vlad Dracula or Vlad the Impaler, was the basis for the fictional character of Dracula. He is known as one of the most cruel and brutal leaders.
Wait. Yeah, I can hear it. Wait. Wait. Why isn't mine working now? What the fuck? Is it... Oh, it's working in Discord. Not Discord, it's working on the stream. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello? My mic works on the stream, but not in Discord. Hello? Wait. Hello? What the hell? Hello? Oh wait, do I have it on push to talk? I do. Okay, I had it on push to talk. Yeah. Damn. Oh yeah. My headphones for like over a year or 2 years had to be at the right angle, and if I hit the bass too hard for too long, the cable would move and I would have to readjust it because it was janky. Yeah. Only one speaker would work. Hell yeah. Kill a bunch of scavs on customs with this AK. Yeah. I sat in the middle of the road like all raid last raid and killed a player and then like 2 player scavs and 2 AI scavs. It was pretty good. You know where those trucks are parked in the barricades and all the barbed wire? Right in the middle of the fucking main road? Yeah, I just laid underneath the truck there and was killing everybody from there. Dude, I had people walking like right around me, doing circles around me. Never spotted me once. I'm just sitting there watching them the whole time, like plain sight. I'm like, oh shit! Like one time I got stuck and I couldn't rotate enough. And I was just like puckering, but he never saw me. I was just like, holy fuck. It was quite entertaining. I got killed by extract campers as scavs twice now in a row. On reserve and streets. I jumped down to streets in the mall and there was some dude camping there, and then I was on reserve just now and some dude fucking killed me when I went to the extract. I was like sitting in the extract bush. And it was a scav too. Yeah. I was just like, fucking really. I was in the bunker reserve, and this scav, like, I was in the command bunker by the glass, and a scav fucking bursts in, and just blah, 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 shoots me with a shotgun, or shoots at me with a shotgun, so I blast back, end up injuring him, and I go and run out to the main, like, hallway of the underground, and then oh yeah, I ended up killing him. Oh yeah. Oh, you what? Yeah, well, you know what time it is? Time to get in the raid already. What the heck? I've been done chilling and jumping over rocks being parkour master. Well, just hurry up and wait. I'm smoking this like super premium. I'm to the left there. More, yeah. This super premium sour cough. It's like $220 an ounce for bud. Oh. But you know what would be kind of a fun thing to do? Do like a Tarkov smoke tour, like smoke a bowl and like a list of cool spots on each map. Like smoke a bowl on the Dome, smoke a bowl on Sniper Mountain on Lighthouse, smoke a bowl in the where would smoke a bowl in dorms on Custom. Like have like what do they call that? A beer cruise where you go around and drink beer at a bunch of different places, but do that in Tarkov. They do that shit in Star Citizen bar crawls. It's pretty cool. That's one of my favorite things about Star Citizen is I just go to the bar and smoke weed. But nobody else ever comes to the bar. Let's actually just go straight to the bunker. Yeah, I even always say like, hey, let's go to the bar, come party at this bar. Let's go, I'm partying, let's come on and hang out. But nobody ever shows up. We got a dead body already. Do I have a Mosin? What are you getting? How much FPS is... I just put mine down to low. I'm getting like 140, 130 right now. Yeah, medium I was getting 90 on 4K. He's got another shotgun and a better backpack for you. Shit! Yeah, my buddy's calling me. Let me mute this call. I could have swore I heard something in here like a minute ago. Well, to your right, there's a lot of bodies. All that shooting up top? Yeah. There's more bodies up the ramp, too. I know Gluhar was here in the morning a few times in a row. There's like a helmet, a really good helmet or something here. Tor. What the hell is this? Oh, it's like... There was bodies this way, I think. Or no, that's just a piece of trash. Nothing. I'll go up here and then towards the train station, maybe. What do you think? Go to that little blue building right there out next to the train. We'll go to that little blue building sitting right there. And then we'll look at the K buildings and go from there. I don't know. I don't know what direction that firing was. I would assume it was the K buildings. Yeah, you know, there's like meds that spawn on this body. Sometimes injectors do. Yeah, impact grenade. Oh, I see somebody by the tanks. Is that a scav or a PMC? That's a scav. I swear I heard something else in here with us. Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I killed the player. Right outside the window. Yeah, he just killed a scav right in the backside of our building. Yeah, me too. Not really. He had he had a level 5 corn, but he had a fountain rate SKS and a fountain rate shotgun, so he just like ran out of ammo. Where he literally came in with, yeah, I don't know. He didn't have his gun. I don't know what his gun was. Interesting. Yeah, both of his guns are just scav guns. Bam! Alright. Nice. Level 27. Those scabs came onto his body like vultures. What do you think, you got a loot? Yeah, you got enough stuff? Oh yeah. he had an AUG magazine, so he was using an AUG, but he ran out of ammo. I betcha. Even his rig's found in raid. Oh yeah. MIP streaming might help. That's like on-the-fly resolution adjustments to keep your frame rates high. And that MIP streaming might help. I think so. Like adjust your frame or adjust your resolution to make your frames more steady. I'm not sure. I'm gonna change mine too. Ba-ba-bing! I clicked the thing too fast for Tarkov to load. They put like a free-for-all deathmatch in Arena Tarkov Arena. It's pretty fun. It's fucking chaos, though. I'll tell you what. It's like 5 to 8 people, just free-for-all. I'll get my ass handed to me. I was doing like 5 and 30. I could not kill anybody.
is
famous for his impaling of his enemies
on spikes and leaving them on display. He impaled over 20,000 men, women, and children, often having them skinned, decapitated, boiled, or worse, somehow. Vlad is even said to have eaten and drank among the thousands of corpses while all of this went on. But because so much emphasis is placed on Vlad's depiction as a tyrant and the vampire mythology that surrounds him, most people don't realize that he was viewed as an incredibly effective leader. More than that, to many Romanians, Vlad the Impaler is a national hero and one of the nation's greatest leaders. Though his brutal acts were considered atrocities even by the standards of the time, to many they were a necessary means to an end. While there's little debate that Vlad was a tyrant, that tyranny is viewed as having been necessary for uniting the nation and helping them be free of Ottoman rule. Ancient pregnancy tests. Women have wanted the ability to test whether or not they are pregnant for thousands of years. Today, we have highly accurate tests that can be taken at home in a few minutes, but this wasn't always the case. Instead, people relied on old wives' tales and superstitions to tell if a woman was pregnant, though most of these were nonsense that could predict pregnancy no better than flipping a coin. However, whether through dumb luck or actual scientific knowledge, people did recognize there was something different about a pregnant woman's urine. According to writings from 1350 BC, a woman should urinate on wheat and barley seeds for a few days to determine if she was pregnant. If the wheat sprouted, it was a girl. If the barley sprouted, it was a boy. And if neither sprouted, she wasn't pregnant. Though this method is useless for identifying the gender of a child, modern studies have shown it to be 70 to 85% effective at predicting whether or not a woman was pregnant. It wasn't perfect, but it was far more effective than what the ancient Greeks cooked up. The ancient Greeks' pregnancy test was to insert an onion into a woman's vagina overnight. If her breath
I got a motherfucking little mini cheesecake platter. Hell yeah!
Her breath didn't smell of onions, then there must have been a
variety cheese. We got New York. We got fucking. We got a Sigma Prime style.
Over what the first
we got chocolate marble.
To most people,
we got strawberry swirl.
In 1994, when Dan Kwan created a website.
We got brownie.
His first sale was Sting's album 10 Summoner's Tales, which was purchased by one of Dan's friends. The buyer's Visa card information was able to be encrypted and sent to Dan to use for payments, marking the first time ever that a business transaction including payment was made online. However, there is another contender for the first online sale that dates back to 1971. Students at Stanford University were able to commandeer the school's computer, which they used to talk to other students from MIT. While they were not able to pay online, these early 70s students were the first ones to initiate a business transaction online. Of course, even if the ability to send digital payments existed back then, they probably weren't going to whip out their credit cards and leave a paper trail because the first ever online business deal was for a bag of weed.
I get one more bite.
Thanks to the creation of Bitcoin, the Silk Road was founded to facilitate all of your illegal e-commerce needs. Investigative journalism's odd world record. Elizabeth Cochrane Seaman was an accomplished journalist of the late 1800s, better known by the pen name of Nellie Bly. She got her start in newspapers after responding to an 1885 article in the Pittsburgh Dispatch titled "What Girls Are Good For." The article.
We need to find like a good 2-spot cover where I can go like in those trucks and I can blow my cover and then they'll come for me and you'll be at a spot where when they start advancing on me then you can kill them. And when they start coming for you then I can kill them, you know?
Workers pissed enough people off, she was relegated to writing about fashion and theatre. She quit her job at the paper and eventually wound up.
The amount of people that will just walk by if you're sitting in this truck, though.
At her new paper, she did a groundbreaking and pioneering piece of investigative journalism by going undercover as an inmate at a women's insane asylum. But despite her serious journalism focused on the treatment of women, she is best known for her attempt to break the fictional world record set by Phileas Fogg around the world in 80 days. Not only did she succeed, setting a very real world record of 72 days, but she even had time to stop in France to meet with Jules Verne. The Pope that caused the Black Death. The bubonic plague, also known as the Black Death, has been plaguing mankind for thousands of years.
Whoever that was.
Today, the oldest specimen found to have died from this bacteria lived 5,000 years ago. But
I think a player just like inadvertently ran between me and the scab.
For thousands of years, what happened to allow such a widespread outbreak across Europe? According to many scholars, that would be Pope Gregory IX and his war on cats. On June the 13th, 1233,
yeah, dude's got a fucking spirit. Level 49.
Rama, a papal decree condemning Satanism and witchcraft. Part of this decree was the assertion that cats were linked to both Satan and witches, and they needed to be persecuted just like their human counterparts. Domesticated cats were
dude, this dude was level 49. Oh, he had a tea bag.
And they had been happily living there for about 2,000 years. But With the Catholic Church and others now ordering the deaths of these animals, their numbers were rapidly depleted. It has been argued that this assault on the feline community allowed the rodent
between those
population to
trucks.
flourish, enabling the spread of the Black Death in Europe. Gladiatrices. If the aforementioned article, What Girls Are Good For, was written in 1885, it's hard to imagine there being a time in the past when women had a whole lot of rights, but this really did vary greatly by society. In ancient Egypt, men and women were considered equal in society and under the law. Women in ancient Rome were not considered equal.
What is this gun? It's still like the image is just loading
that,
for
they
me.
enjoyed most of the same rights and opportunities as men. They could own property, own and run a business, and they could even initiate a divorce without needing to give a reason. And just like enslaved men could be trained and forced to fight as gladiators, so too could enslaved women become gladiatrices. Though we know this happened until the 3rd century AD when it was outlawed, the sight of a gladiatrix was still extremely rare for ancient Romans. Few accounts remain, mostly in private notes of the wealthy elite, but a few depictions of gladiatrix battles exist in Roman art, including one of a fight between the gladiatrices Amazonia.
You just scoot to the left a little bit, you can get behind that tire, and then you can lean out.
These women would do battle against one another or against wild animals.
I was chilling right there.
The pirate.
Dude, I got, yeah.
Speaking of women showing up in unexpected places,
That
one of
spot's
history's most
dirty.
successful pirates was a woman named
People will walk
Zheng
right by you,
Shao.
especially if I
She
get
was
right
born
here
in
and I can see these
1775 near
stairs.
Xinhui in China.
People go over those stairs all the time.
She's either a sex worker or a madam at a floating brothel, though there does not appear to be explicit evidence of this. While it is
Like, that's the only way I can see, and then if I got something on my left, I just stand up.
Zheng Yi, a well-known pirate in the South China Sea. The two wed in 1801 when she was 26 years old, and she took the name
Yes, where I was at last
Zhao, literally
white
White
raid.
Zheng. There was a lot of fighting amongst the pirates in the South China Sea, but Zheng Yi was able to unite the pirates into a confederation, in no small part thanks to his wife's efforts and negotiations. A few years later, Zheng Yi died at sea in rough weather, and Zheng Yi Sao took over as the head of the federation. Within a year, the Pirate Confederation had become much more active and better organized, with Zheng Yi Sao having an estimated 1,200 ships and 70,000 crew under her command. Why she called it quits is up for debates, but in 1810, she wound up negotiating an incredible surrender deal with China's Qing dynasty. Though the Pirate Confederation was over, they received pardons, many were allowed to keep their ships, and many of them were able to take positions either in the Chinese Navy or the government. Olympic arts. When it comes to the Olympic Games, we generally think of athletes in peak physical condition competing to be the best at their sport or event. However, in 1912 through 1948, the Summer Olympics also included competitions in art. The 5 categories included architecture, literature, music, painting, and sculpture. The only caveat with these competitions was that all the artistic works were supposed to be inspired by sport in some way. This wasn't without precedent either, as the ancient Olympic Games also
This new red dot's pretty
competitions in
cool.
art as well as in sports. While trumpeting and heralding were the most popular art competitions in the ancient Olympics, appearing 22 and 18 times each respectively, there were also occasional competitions for poetry, comedy, tragedy, flute playing, lyre playing, and more. When arts were removed from the modern Olympics in the 1950s, their rationale was a bit dubious. Olympic competitors were required to be amateurs, but the artists were all considered to be professionals. The amateurs only rule was abandoned by the Olympic Committee in 1986, but artists haven't found their way back to the Olympic Games yet. In the blue corner, Honest Abe. Abraham Lincoln is known for a lot of things. He was the 16th president of the United States, freer of the slaves, and unknown to most, an accomplished wrestler. At 6'4", Lincoln's stature would be imposing today, let alone in the mid-1800s. The exact extent of his wrestling career isn't certain, as many of his fights weren't exactly organized, sanctioned bouts. That said, when he was 21 years old, Lincoln became the county wrestling champion. He was trained in the style of catch wrestling, back then referred to as catch-a-catch-can. This was much closer to UFC than WWE, and catch wrestlers were the original professional wrestlers. According to legend, Lincoln wrestled at least 300 times over 12 years, and in all of that time, he's believed to have only lost a single match. This alleged loss was at the hands of Hank Thompson, a fellow volunteer during the Black Hawk War of 1832. The two were wrestling to determine which one of their units would get the better campsite. It's believed that Lincoln's legendary reputation as a wrestler helped him win the presidency, and in 1992, he was inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. And in the red corner, Plato. Speaking of famous historical figures with surprising athletic credentials, Greek philosopher Plato was also a wrestler. In fact, it's believed that his real name was Aristocles, and that Plato was the nickname given to him by his wrestling coach on account of his incredible girth. Girth in this context being broad shoulders. This wasn't just a means to exercise and stay in shape either. Plato was quite good at wrestling, reportedly competing in the Isthmian Games. The Isthmian Games were part of the cycle of Pan-Hellenic Games. Each Olympiad, or period of 4 years, would feature the Olympic Games. The first year, the Isthmian Games the second and fourth years, and the Pythian Games on the third year. According to Diarchus of Messana, a student of Aristotle, who was in turn a student of Plato, Plato did extremely well as the Isthmian Games and was well known for his wrestling.
Keep hearing that, Scav.
On exactly
no.
Plato placed in the games, and it is unclear whether he was a contemporary of Plato's or if he only heard the story secondhand from Aristotle.
Fuck is he?
Andrew Jackson's irreverent animal. America has a long history of presidential pets dating all the way back to George Washington. Washington had over a dozen pets, mostly dogs and horses, including a pair of hunting dogs named Drunkard and Tipsy. Out of the 46 American presidents, only James Polk, Andrew Johnson, and Donald Trump did not own any pets, though Johnson could be debated as he reportedly treated the mice that appeared at his office as pets, feeding and caring for them. However, of all of the animals to live in the White House, it is only Andrew Jackson's parrot, Poll, that had a reputation for cursing like a sailor. The parrot was originally intended for Jackson's wife, but when she passed away, he became its caretaker. Taking after its owner, Poll became one of the most notoriously foul-mouthed animals to ever live. When Jackson died, Poll was originally...
Yeah, right?
However, according to Reverend William Normert, who presided over the funeral, quote, before the sermon and while the crowd was gathering, a wicked parrot that was a household pet got excited and commenced swearing so loud and long as to disturb the people and had to be carried from the house. Ketchup as medicine. Ketchup can be traced back to southern China in at least the 4th century BC. However, for the first 2,000 years, ketchup was very different from the item we recognize today. It was still a form of condiment for seasoning food, but ketchup's primary ingredients were fermented fish and mushrooms. This continued and spread across the world until 1834, when Dr. John Cook Bennett decided to add tomatoes to his ketchup. And he believed, or at least claimed, that the addition of tomatoes changed ketchup from a mere condiment to a medicinal wonder. His ketchup tonic claimed to be able to cure diarrhea, indigestion, jaundice, and rheumatism. Though his concoction was likely to do more harm than good for those conditions, he had his ketchup sauce turned into tomato pills that could be sold more easily. The success of medicinal ketchup led to numerous copycat companies advertising similar tomato pills. These pills made even more claims, such as the ability to cure scurvy and mend broken bones.
Somebody shooting from behind?
While tomatoes could cure scurvy, the copycat pills making these claims were usually just laxatives with no trace of tomato in them at all. The myriad of false medical claims that were made by various companies caused the medicinal ketchup industry to collapse after about 20 years, but people still loved the taste of tomato ketchup. It became so popular and ubiquitous that most people today are unaware fish and mushroom-based ketchups ever even existed. Oxford versus the Aztecs. There are a number of ancient civilizations across the globe, some of which are more heavily studied today in Western society. The first ancient civilizations you likely think of are the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians.
Yeah.
There are also, of course, the ancient Chinese,
I ran up
Babylonians, the Persians, Sumerians, and many, many more. But what about over in the
Hold on.
Americas? There were the Olmec and the Mayans, of course, but what about the Aztecs and the Incans? Pre-Columbian civilizations in the Americas tend to get grouped together in public consciousness, but the Aztecs and Incans weren't actually ancient
Came down from the
civilizations.
tracks.
In fact, Oxford University predates both of them. There is no official founding date for Oxford, but teaching on the campus began as early as 1096, and it grew massively over the next century. By contrast, the Aztec civilization is regarded as having officially begun with the founding of Tenochtitlan in Lake Texcoco. This didn't happen until 1325.
Like in the middle.
Didn't begin until the early 1200s,
A bit
over a
farther,
century
you can
after
see me.
Oxford University had already opened its doors. The death of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was one of the most respected leaders of the ancient world, despite dying at the age of only 32. However, the cause of his death has always remained a bit of a mystery. Alexander fell ill after some intense partying, and after nearly 2 weeks of being bedridden, he was declared dead. During those 2 weeks, he became extremely ill and weak, eventually being unable to speak and barely able to even hold up his own head. Theories surrounding his death range from poison to various illnesses that were prevalent in the region. However, there is another, more recent theory presented by Dr. Catherine Hall in 2018. According to Hall, Alexander may not have been dead at all. He may have been suffering from Guillain-Barré syndrome. This condition leads to muscle paralysis, and a quarter of those with the disease die from respiratory failure as the muscles responsible for breathing become too weak. According to this new theory, Alexander's weak, shallow breath was mistaken by ancient physicians for no breath at all. One of the key pieces of evidence for this are the contemporary reports of Alexander's body post-mortem. The human body has some pretty clear signs of death, and decomposition can begin in as little as 24 hours. But for 6 days following his supposed death, Alexander's body remained completely unchanged. At the time, this was taken as evidence that he was in fact a god, but if Hall is correct, then the lack of decomposition is because he was still alive and aware the entire time.
Yeah, I'm like straight ahead.
If that's the case, his cause of death would have been the mummification
to the left of you, I'm like to your right.
The martyrdom of St. Lawrence. Just as polytheistic religions tend to have a god for every purpose you can imagine, so too does the Catholic Church have a myriad of saints for similarly diverse prayers. Among the most interesting saints was St. Lawrence. Born on New Year's Eve 225 AD, Lawrence was appointed to the role of Archdeacon of Rome by Pope Sixtus II, despite being only 22 years old at the time. The two had met previously when they traveled to Rome together from Spain, serving as a reminder that promotions are all about who you know. As Archdeacon, Lawrence was essentially the treasurer of the Catholic Church. He was responsible for looking after the church's wealth as well as distribution of alms to the poor. Now, you might think that this would result in him becoming a patron saint of accountants or charity or something like that, but his sainthood was actually much more tied to his death rather than his life. In 258, Roman Emperor Valerian essentially outlawed Catholicism, demanding that all preachers should be executed and their wealth seized by the Roman government. Valerian executed Sixtus, following which the prefect of Rome ordered Lawrence to turn over all of the church's money and valuables. Instead, he distributed all of the church's things amongst the poor before going before the prefect. He brought with him blind, crippled, and impoverished members of the church, claiming that they were the church's riches. The prefect was not amused, so he executed Lawrence by cooking him over a gridiron. While he was being cooked alive, Lawrence reportedly declared, "I'm well done this side, turn me over." Because of this quip just before his death, St. Lawrence became the patron saint of chefs and comedians. Lovely. Lord Byron found a loophole. Along with being a famous poet and politician, Lord Byron is also famous for his scandals and eccentricities. Among those eccentricities was his love of animals and the incredible menagerie that he maintained. Lord Byron's collection of animals contained, but was not limited to, numerous dogs and horses, a wolf, a fox, a crocodile, a honey badger, some geese, and a goat with a broken leg. However, in 1805, when he travelled to Cambridge to attend Trinity College, he was upset to learn that his beloved dog, Boatswain, would not be allowed to join him. The college's rules strictly forbade keeping dogs as pets, although they did not explicitly ban all pets. Noticing the loophole and wanting to express his utter disdain for the rule, Byron purchased a tamed bear and he brought it with him to college. While Trinity College wasn't thrilled with this development, they had no legal basis to complain as there was no rule against someone having a pet bear. The bear stayed in Byron's room with him and he would frequently take it out for walks on a leash as if it was a dog. In a letter he wrote to friends from his dorm, Byron stated, "I've got a new friend, the finest in the world, a tame bear. When I brought him here, they asked me what I meant to do with him, and my reply was he should sit for a fellowship." Nazi Germany's advanced interrogation tactics. When it comes to the interrogation of prisoners of war, you're likely to think of unspeakable acts of torture. But for Nazi Luftwaffe interrogator Hans Scharf, interrogation was something different entirely. Scharf was opposed to using violence and torture to extract information, possibly because the efficacy of such methods is debated. Instead, he chose to lean heavily into a different tactic, approved by the Luftwaffe for interrogations, making the prisoner feel like the interrogator was the captive's greatest advocate. Prisoners of war were isolated and often malnourished, and they were met with frequent threats from the Luftwaffe. If the prisoner didn't give more information than just their name, rank, and serial number, there would be no choice but to hand them over for questioning to the Gestapo, the feared Nazi secret police. Once the prisoners were thoroughly
What happened?
That's when
Damn. What? Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh yeah. I'm going to take a break as well. I'll